So there's this funny movie from Germany called Look Who's Back. Big spoiler warning. The story kicks off in Berlin during World War II. We meet Hitler hanging out with a guy named Keppl, who's trying to coach him on manners. Hitler isn't happy with how people greet Keppl, thinking even though the Nazi salute isn't cool anymore, folks should at least show some respect with a mini salute. Hitler then talks about trying super hard to crush his enemies who messed with their land. He's pretty shocked to find himself in Germany still around. He finds himself waking up on the forest floor. As he looks up, he notices the enemy aircrafts are no longer in the sky. He thinks they might have stopped for a while. A ball rolls over and stops right by him. He got up, walked past a bush towards a building and bumped into 3 kids. They were curious if he was all right. Looking at them, he thought they represented the future and asked them for directions. Meanwhile, a reporter named Fabian was filming nearby and caught him on camera. The man, picking up his army cap, decided to head to the Fuhrer bunker. Surprised by the sight of people riding unusual bikes and taking pictures of him, he felt completely out of place. When he touched the modern car, he wondered if he had missed out on something big, like winning a war, because he felt lost. Trying to understand more, he asked someone for directions but ended up being the center of a photo session, which confused and bothered him. As he tried to find more clues, he found a woman speaking in German language and approached here, but a woman got scared and sprayed something in his eyes, leaving him in pain and barely able to see. Staggering to a newspaper stand, he saw the date was October 3rd, 2014, on the front page and couldn't believe it. He collapsed, overwhelmed by the shock. In another place, Karner, who's in charge of a TV station, tells Mr. Christoph Sensenbrink he's doing a great job as the deputy head. He hints at a big promotion, but then surprises everyone by naming Miss Katja Bellini as the managing director instead. Christoph is really upset and can't believe it. He goes back to his office and takes out his frustration on Fabian, a filmmaker who's already having a tough time. Even though Fabian tries really hard to make his boss happy, Christoph doesn't listen and ends up firing him. The guards are even called to kick Fabian out. Once, Hitler woke up in a news shop and was very confused. He asked the shop owner what year it was, and the owner told him it was 2014. Hitler couldn't believe it and thought maybe he had been kidnapped. He suspected this was an enemy's trick to fool him. He got very angry and said he would hurt the owner if he found out he was working for his enemies. But the shop owner, trying to calm him down, just gave him a chocolate bar instead. Hitler had a hard time opening something, and then took a sniff. He thought it smelled like pressed grain and asked if there was a bread shortage. The person selling stuff thought Hitler was an actor from a documentary because of how he looked and asked about it. Then he said Hitler looked just like the Fuhrer. Hitler told him he was the Fuhrer. Later, Hitler noticed a Turkish newspaper and asked for Stürmer or Panzerbar instead. A shopkeeper told Hitler he's seeing a lot more Turkish customers these days. Hitler was really surprised to hear about Turkish people being in Berlin, so he began to look for more information in the newspapers. While reading, he thinks he lost the war before, and now Germany is run by not-so-smart women. He doesn't get why Poland is still here and feels the war was pointless. At the same time, Fabian is watching a soccer video and is sad because he lost his job. His mom tells him to stop the video because she sees someone who looks like Hitler in the background. Fabian finds it funny that someone looks so much like Hitler. At a shop, the shopkeeper tells Hitler to put down the newspaper and go outside. Hitler is annoyed about being told to work. The shopkeeper then tells him he should clean his clothes because they smell. Hitler ends up at a laundry place, asking to get his uniform cleaned. He wonders what he'll wear in the meantime since he can't leave without clothes. Next, we have a scene where Hitler, dressed in jeans and a sweater, goes to buy a newspaper. Meanwhile, Fabian, who has been looking for him, is already there waiting. Seeing Hitler, Fabian can't hide his surprise at how he looks. He asks Hitler if he can film him as they walk around modern Germany. Hitler likes the idea, so Fabian borrows some money and a car from his mom and they start their adventure. They stay at a hotel where Hitler finds the TV very interesting. This leads Hitler to decide he wants to talk about politics in Fabian's project. He travels around, asking folks about their thoughts on politics. After talking to many, he realizes democracy hasn't really changed much for them while he was away. He notices they're upset and quietly angry, kind of like back in the 1930s when folks felt the same but didn't have a word for it, like political disenchantment. When people mention how they're struggling with immigration issues, it makes him push his belief even more that mixing races isn't a good idea. One day, Fabian asked Hitler why he had such a distinct mustache. Hitler said he trimmed it to fit under a gas mask. Later, they went to a farm and a dog bit Hitler. He got so mad that he shot at the dog. Fabian was shocked, told him off, and took the gun away. As they kept traveling, Fabian ran out of money. He came up with a plan. He got people to let Hitler draw their pictures. Hitler made funny drawings that made people laugh and pay. Thanks to this, they got enough money to keep going on their trip. Fabian is back in town and shows Christoph a clip of Hitler that he uploaded online, and it got tons of views. Christoph can't believe how many people watched it and wants to know how to contact Hitler. When they meet him, Christoph thinks Hitler is crazy and tells Fabian they should leave. But before they go, Hitler barges into the director's office, wanting to team up to save Germany. The director, Bellini, gets curious and asks about his plan. She asks her assistant to get everything ready so they can show Hitler on TV. Then Fabian tells Christoph to give him his old job back or he'll take Hitler with him. Christoph agrees, but makes him work in the kitchen first, saying he'll promote him later. Soon, they give Hitler a spot in the TV studio and try to help him with the computer. Hitler thinks computers are great, but gets upset when he can't use his own name for an email. Instead, he picks New Reich's Chancellery. Christoph wants to use Hitler to cause trouble on a live comedy show by making jokes about Jews. When the show starts and Hitler comes on stage, everyone goes quiet. But Hitler doesn't stick to his script. He doesn't make the joke he was supposed to. Instead, he talks about how TV shows are silly and points out big problems like poverty and joblessness. He promises to fight against these issues, and everyone claps, liking what he says. This makes the host Witzigmann jealous. Bellini then tells Christoph to put Hitler on more shows. Christoph is upset because his plan didn't work out. Then we see Hitler going on many TV shows. He talks about how he wants to make Germany better. He gets really famous and meets a lot of important people and leaders. He wins them over by talking about his ideas. One day when Hitler and Fabian go to the NPD office in Berlin, Hitler talks to Ulf Berner, who's in charge there. He tells him they haven't done much good and that their actions have set them back by years. Christoph feels thrilled and excited when the police and DA show up at the TV studio. They're there because of a complaint that someone broke the hate speech laws. Bellini was worried about what to do next. Christoph suggested they might have to cancel the Fuhrer show. The DA said they could keep broadcasting. Bellini was relieved, but Christoph only pretended to smile. When the DA left, Kromeyer gave Christoph a letter about paying for a dog Hitler shot earlier. Christoph was happy, thinking it could cause trouble. Hitler ended up on a TV show where they asked him really tough questions about what he did in the war. He said he wanted to talk to people, but the interviewer wasn't having it. He even showed Hitler a video of him doing something really bad, which made everyone upset. Hitler got mad and made a scary threat about turning the place into something for tanks. Christoph seemed to like that people were upset with Hitler. Soon after that mess, Bellini lost his job and Christoph took over. Then Hitler moved in with this guy Fabian and started working on a new book, kind of excited about where life was taking him. The book got out there fast. 3 months later, everyone at the TV studio had a big meeting to talk about how much money they lost because of all this drama. Christoph was counting on Witzigmann's show to fix their problems, but then one worker tells him he's quit. This news really stresses Christoph out and he gets upset with some employees because the show was lost. Then, someone brings up the idea of bringing Hitler back, which catches Christoph's interest. He decides to find Hitler and make a deal with Fabian. Christoph offers to put $1 million into the movie Fabian and Hitler are making. In exchange, he wants to show their movie on his TV channel. Later, when Hitler and Fabian visit Kromeyer's place, Kromeyer's grandmother recognizes Hitler. She says Hitler was really bad for gassing people and calls him a criminal, telling him to leave. In the car, Hitler is taken aback when he finds out Kromeyer is a Jew. Fabian starts to feel upset when he hears Hitler talking badly about Jewish people, saying they are less than humans. He doesn't like what Hitler is saying or doing. Then, Fabian tries to understand more about Hitler by making him remember what happened before a certain moment in the woods, but Hitler can't recall it. Later on, when Fabian leaves the set, some mean guys surround him. They blame him for problems in Germany and hit him hard. When Hitler wakes up, he's in a hospital and sees Bellini there. Fabian was checking the video he took of the boys playing soccer. He noticed something shocking in the video. He saw Hitler getting up from where he was lying. This left Fabian amazed. He couldn't believe what he saw. So he hurried to the place he filmed the video. There he found a sign that said Fuhrer Bunker, marking it as a historical spot. Without wasting time, Fabian rushed to the hospital to find Hitler, but he was gone. Bellini told him that Hitler had gone to a shooting set. Fabian tells Bellini that he is the real Adolf Hitler, but Bellini doesn't buy it. Fabian gets all worked up, trying hard to make Bellini see his point. When the guards come to get him, he makes a run for it. Fabian got to the set and pointed a gun at Hitler. When Fabian asked who he was, Hitler said he had always been himself. Fabian accused him of tricking people, but Hitler argued that in 1933 people picked a leader who was open about his plans. Then, Fabian took Hitler to a rooftop, calling him a monster. Hitler argued back, saying he was chosen by people who shared his views deep down. In anger, Fabian shot Hitler, making him fall off the building. However, soon after, Hitler's voice taunted Fabian, saying no German could truly get rid of him. And shockingly, Hitler appeared again right behind. Suddenly, Belina yells, "Cut," on the set, and everyone starts clapping because they finished filming. It was all for a movie, and someone was just acting as Fabian. Then, Hitler reminds everyone to think of their friends who couldn't be there with them. In a different place, Kromeyer is crying as he watches Fabian through a small hole in a mental ward. After the movie becomes a hit, Hitler and Belina are caught up in signing autographs and giving interviews to lots of people. People walking on the street see a car pass by, and they look happy to see Hitler. They even greet him nicely. If you want to see more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe, turn on notifications, and hit the like button to support the channel. Thanks for checking it out.